children. Good to come your way once again for us to have another lesson in mathematics. I'm your regular teacher, Miss Ayubuama. On geometry and measurement, we are still going to talk about measurement of time. But today we are telling the time in AM and PM. I'm sure you are thinking of what the AM and the PM means. Don't worry, you will soon get to know. In our previous lesson, we talked a lot about the time. What did we say about time? We said it is the period or the interval in which something occurred. We were able to tell the time by hour and by minute. For example, if you see the hour hand on 4 and the minute hand points at 12, what will be the time? 4 o'clock, very good. What if the minute hour moves to 3 and the hour hand shifts a little bit from the 4? What will be the time? 4:15 or 15 minutes past 4. We also learned how to tell the time by 1:45. Hope you remember. Yes. We said 1:45 means it is now going to 12. The minutes hand is going back to 12. So if you have the minute hand on 9 and our hour hand is still shifting from 4 getting to 5, what do you say is the time? 4:45 or 15 minutes to 5. Very good. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to tell the time in AM or PM. That means if it is 2:30, you can say 2:30 AM or 2:30 PM. We are going to find out how we get those AM and PM. But before we continue with our lesson, let's go through our keywords for the day. Our first keyword is midnight. Midnight. The beginning of a new day or middle of the night. I'm going to use these words a lot, so take note of them. Midnight, the beginning of a new day or middle of the night. Midday, midday, the middle of the day or noon. The middle of the day or noon. I'm sure you've been saying we have 24 hours in a day. So we always say 24 hours makes a day. But how do we add the hours to get the 24 hours? The day is divided into 2 equal parts. 12 hours for one part of the day, another 12 hours for the other part of the day. I'm taking it again. We have 24 hours in one day. How do we get our 24 hours? The 24 is divided into 2 equal parts. So 12 hours makes one part of the day and another 12 also make the other part of the day. So when you put 12 and 12 together, what do you get? 24 hours. Let's see how this happened. Okay, children. On the board is an illustration of how the day is divided into 2 equal parts. And how many hours make one part? 12 hours. So 12 hours make one part of the day and the other 12 also make another part of the day. So I have 2 clock faces over here. Okay. The day begins from midnight. You remember the keyword midnight? We said midnight is the beginning of the day. Yes, midnight. So when the hour hand points at 12 and the minute hand also points at 12, in the night we have midnight. So when the minute hand and the hour hand point at 12 at this time in the night, we don't say 12 o'clock. We can say it is midnight. Good. So the day begins from midnight. During that time, would you be in the light time? Would you see the sun? No. You will still be in darkness. So from 12 o'clock, which is midnight, we start counting. The hour hand and the minute hand starts its journey in a clockwise direction. So they all move simultaneously. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Back to 12 again. I mean the minute hand and the hour hand taking this full hour, full movement. We have half a day. So this half a day, which is the first part of the day, is known as AM. AM. So children, when the minute hand points at 12 and the hour hand is now pointing at 1, that is after midnight, the time is going to be 1 o'clock. So we write our 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock what? 1 o'clock AM, because the day is beginning from 12 midnight. So any hour from 12 midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All these hours are going to be in AM. So I'm going to add my AM. This is the first part of the day. The day has not yet ended. So during this time, let's say from 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll still be in the dark. But when it gets to 5, 6, 7, you see the sun coming up. Then we say we are in the morning. Yes. So AM comprise hours from 12 midnight coming down to morning and then back to 12. So AM has little darkness and then morning. Darkness means from midnight and morning. So all that I'm saying is that AM is made up of midnight. That is when we have darkness till morning up to 12 o'clock. So half of the day is gone. So that half of the day is known as AM. So let's say, for example, the time is 3:15. What do you say? 3:15 AM. Let's say 10:30 what? AM, because you are still in the morning. The moment the minute hand and the hour hand goes back to 12 again, we start the second part of the day. So the second part of the day also begins from midday. Midday, 12 o'clock. Or can say noon. So it also starts from 12. It also moves round about the minute hand and the hour hand. You are all going to take a full movement for another 12 hours again. Then we have the 1 day. So the second part of the day, which starts from noon or midday, is known as PM. PM. So when the minute hand and the hour hand point at 12 again, we don't say midnight. By then, we are in the middle of the day, in the afternoon. So we say 12 noon. But the moment the minute hand and the hour hand starts moving from 12 again, you write 12. Let's say if the time is 12:15, you write 12:15 PM. So now the time is now in PM, not in AM. That means you are in the second part of the day. Hope you are following. Okay, let's say the time is 6 o'clock in the second part of the day. So 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock what? 6 o'clock PM. Because we are in the second part of the day. So the minute hand and the hour hand keeps moving, goes round about, and comes back to 12 again. And what time will you say it is by then? We are coming back to midnight. So the day has ended and another day will also what? Begin. So PM also is made up of afternoon and evening. PM is made up of afternoon and evening. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are in the afternoon. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, we are in the evening. The moment it gets back to 12, we are in the midnight. And the day will end. Then we get our 24 hours in one day. Children, hope you've enjoyed the lesson. We have come to the end of telling the time in AM and PM. But before we go, let's do a quick recap on what we've learned today. We said 24 hours make one day. And the 24 hours is divided into 2 equal parts. 12 hours for the first part of the day, and then the other 12 for the second part of the day. And the first part of the day starts from midnight. 12 midnight. So from 12 midnight, we are going to have AM. So from 12 midnight till morning, we have AM. The moment the minute hand and the hour hand gets back to 12 again, we have the beginning of the second part of the day. But this time, it's not going to be in AM, but PM. Good. Try and practice telling the time in AM and PM at home. I know you are going to see it very interesting. Till I come your way another time. Bye.